Hi, welcome to Mindful Healthy Habits with Kevin. In this series, I'm going to talk about the benefits of mindfulness in your life. Mindfulness is a big word, and there's a lot of things that it can mean. For me, mindfulness is being aware of my levels, my mood levels, how I'm feeling at any given time, and having the ability, having the tools to increase my mood levels or however I'm feeling at any given time. That to me is the ultimate superpower, is to be able to realize that I'm not feeling well right now. I'm a little off. I'm not really in the flow. So I'm going to do a little 5-minute meditation. I'm going to do some breathing. I'm going to go for a walk, and I'm going to feel much better. I'm going to raise my levels, my mood levels up to a level that's more comfortable. When I talk about levels, I kind of use a 1 to 10 scale. 1 being the worst day ever, all the way up to a 10 being the best day. And these best days and these worst days don't happen all the time. Once in a while, you might get married or have your first child. That would be a 10. A really special birthday or something like that. It doesn't happen very often. A 1 is like something really traumatic has happened. And again, those don't happen often. So we're talking between 2 and 9. 9 being a really good day. Again, doesn't happen often. A 2 being kind of one of the worst days you've had. 3 and 4, in that 3 and 4 range, it's like you're off. Nothing really significantly bad has happened, but you just don't feel yourself. You're tired, you're stressed, overwhelmed, you feel anxious. 5 and 6 is you feel okay, but nothing really bad has happened, nothing really good has happened. You just kind of feel blah. And then there's that 7 to 8 range. That 7 to 8 range for me is the ideal range. That 7 to 8 range is that everyday, 95% of your life, you're going to be spent in this range. And if you can find a way to stay in this range, that is going to make you the most content and most happy that you could be. You're going to live a really good life if you can stay in this range. So how do you stay in that 7 to 8 range? How do you stay in that comfort where, like, if I drop to a 5, I have the ability to bring myself back up to a 7 almost instantly? That is an ultimate superpower. And it is possible. It is. Your breath is one of the greatest tools you were born with. We just don't use it to our full potential. Our breath has the ability to slow us down when we get a little excited. It has the ability to calm us down. It has the ability to bring us up if we need a little bit more energy. It has so many different benefits and so many tools. We just don't use it to the greatest potential. It's almost like having a $1,000 smartphone. You spend all that money on a smartphone, but you only use it to talk. You don't use it for any of the other features. You don't use it to text. You don't use it to use the internet, for alarm clock. You don't use it for anything else. You just literally use it to talk on the phone. Our breath is kind of the same way. People use their breath to stay alive. They unconsciously breathe in and out all day, but they don't use the breath like they should to bring their levels up whenever they need to. Even just a simple awareness breath, an inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth like you're sighing it out. Just that awareness breath throughout the day is just enough to take the edge off sometimes. And then if you add in an inner body hand meditation, or just closing your eyes for 2 or 3 minutes and just breathing, it really does help. It does. Taking those mindfulness breaks throughout the day, it definitely helps. And so the whole purpose of keeping your levels high is so that when you get out into the real world and something happens that drops your level. Let's say you're driving in your vehicle and you feel like a 7, and somebody cuts you off, makes you really upset for that. It only happens for 5 to 10 seconds that person's actually in the vehicle. But then after the incident is done and the person drives away, you feel like you've came back down to a 4 or 5. You just don't feel right. Maybe he made a gesture at you, maybe he honked a horn, and you felt that anxiety come up all of a sudden, and it instantly dropped you to a 4. Well, what are you going to do? The person's gone. You can talk about it, you can gesture back, and what is that really going to do? So you got to bring yourself back to a 7. You have the ability to do that. So do some calming breaths. The thoughts that come to your head, just say, nope. It's almost like you're swiping. Nope, not doing that, not saying that. Just swipe until you find the thought where it's like, what is the best thing I can do in this situation? Well, honking back or gesturing back to him is not gonna help the situation at all. I just need to remain calm. I need to breathe. I need to distract myself, take my mind off that incident, and bring myself back to a 7. I was at a 7 before this happened. There's no reason I can't get back to a 7. So I'm going to bring myself back to a 7, maybe even 8. Maybe you do a really, really nice breath and you feel like you're in the flow, and you leave that little breathing session, that breathwork session, feeling amazing, and you actually end up at an 8. Maybe you're even better than when you started. So that incident didn't wreck your day, didn't bring you to a 4. A lot of people would stay at a 4 for hours, and then in the shower the night before, they would think about it still, like, I should have said this or I should have said that. And then they lay down on their pillow at night, still thinking about that incident, still upset, still distressed by what happened. And they kept themselves at a 4, a 5 all day thinking about that. You gotta be able to let that stuff go. And you have the ability, you have the potential to let that go. You have the tools to say, no, I'm not gonna let this one incident wreck me. So another benefit of mindfulness is to keep your levels high so that when things happen in the real world, you're able to react to them appropriately. So I had an incident once where I was parking in a grocery store, and parking was pretty tight. There wasn't a lot of spots around. And so I managed to find one, and I got out of the vehicle, and a man was standing behind, very upset that I parked too close to his car. And he was really upset. He was yelling, screaming, very distressed. Obviously, he was going through more than just that parking. Like, my parking too close to his vehicle did not make him this angry. He was obviously angry before. His levels were probably at a 2 or a 3, or maybe even a 4 and a 5. And then when he saw this parking, it brought him to a 2 or a 3. So he was very upset. Now, I had just meditated about an hour before, so I was feeling really good. My level was probably at an 8 at that point. I was going shopping, I was feeling relaxed, I wasn't in a hurry, I wasn't rushed, I was just feeling just in the flow. And you know that's a 7 or an 8 for me. When I'm feeling in the flow, things are just, luck is going my way, everything just feels like it's going my way. Well, this man wasn't exactly keeping me at an 8. But I had a decision to make before I said anything, because yes, the first 2 or 3 thoughts going through my head was, no, I'm not too close. I'm going to defend myself. I'm right, he's wrong. But I just said no to all those thoughts because those were the first initial thoughts that came to my head. But it was kind of like I was swiping. Nope, not saying that. Nope, not doing that. And then eventually I took a deep breath and I found the control. I found in that split moment, I only had a few seconds but that is what meditation does. That's what mindfulness does, is it allows you to make good decisions in a short amount of time because you practice it, because you cultivate it into your everyday life. You're able to make decisions like this on the spot, in the spur of the moment. So instead of reacting to my first 2 or 3 thoughts, which were negative and would have caused more trouble than anything, I took a deep breath and I pretended to look because I knew I wasn't too close. I was able to get out of the car. It's not like I jumped into the passenger side and escaped through the other side. I was able to open the door and get out, so I wasn't too close. But he obviously thought that I was too close. So I pretended to look, and then the first 2, 3 thoughts came through, and I say, no, I'm not saying that, I'm not doing that, I'm not. And then it came to me. So I looked at the man, I said, sir, you're right, I'm too close. I'll move my vehicle. So I simply got in my car, backed up, went 2 or 3 spots over. The whole thing maybe was 45 seconds just to get in my car and move it. Got out of my car and the man's still standing there. So I walk and he's like, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have yelled at you. I was like, no problem. You were right. I was too close. There's lots of spots. I could find another one pretty easily. No, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have yelled at you. So he apologized to me twice. And he had a smile on his face when he left. And lo and behold, 10 minutes later, who do I see in the store? The same man. I'm sorry again, I'm sorry. So he had a big smile on his face. He even cracked a joke. He was feeling much better than he was, 10 minutes ago. And it was all because I was able to control my initial reaction to that situation. I didn't overreact. I didn't give in to the first 2 or 3 thoughts that came to my head, which was to defend myself, which was to make me right, him wrong. How dare he say this to me, but I didn't. I was composed and had control, and I took a moment to just, what's the best thing I can do in this situation? And then it just came to me in the spur of the moment like that. That stuff is only going to happen if you practice mindfulness, if you meditate regularly, if you have that control. Because when you meditate, your mind's going to drift off and you're going to lose control, and then you bring it back. That's the whole point of meditating, is that when you lose that focus, you bring it back. And so when I was out in the real world, I used that technique. I was like, okay, I'm lost right now. This guy's screaming at me. I don't even know why. I'm not too close. He's wrong, I'm right. But I didn't. I brought it back to what's the best thing I can do in this situation. And then the thought came to me. Now, sometimes you maybe have had this experience where you've had a situation like this and you didn't react the best way you could have. And then 10 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour later, like, oh, I should have just did that. I should have said that. I would have made things so much better. It was too late. The incident's over. You only had a spur of the moment reaction, and you didn't react well. But practicing mindfulness and meditation will allow you to make better decisions in the spur of the moment like that, and allow you to have that control. So you're not reacting and overreacting to every little thing that happens in the real world. You have that control, and you have the confidence to go out. Like, some people are scared to go out because they don't know who's going to do what to them or what's going to happen to them. But when you go out into the real world and you have this confidence, you have these tools that say, hey, if someone starts screaming at me in a parking lot, I'll just simply move my car. I'm just going to go with the flow. I'm not going to resist what's happening. And there are times you can't just give in to certain situations, that you have to stand up for yourself, and you'll have that confidence as well. You'll know when that time is that you have to, like, okay, I have to put my foot down. I can't allow this to happen. You're not just a punching bag. You're not just going through life saying yes to everybody no matter what, okay? But you making good decisions. You're allowing those first 2 or 3 thoughts, those egoic type thoughts, to kind of drift by. And then you're picking the best thought in that situation. And that's what mindfulness and meditation helps you to do. It allows you to make better decisions, spur of the moment, in the real life situation, so that you're not just reacting to every little thing all the time. You have that control, and you can make better decisions, allowing you to have more freedom, because it is, when you go out into the real world, you're going to interact more with people. You're going to cultivate better relationships. You're going to meet more people, get into better situations than if you were resisting and being afraid to go out into the world because you don't know how you're going to react. Do the work on your own. Practice meditation. Get into different types of meditation. Practice mindfulness. This will build your confidence up, build your tools up, so that when you go out into the real world, you can react and bring your levels back up whenever you need to. If you're feeling like a 5, I know that if I take 2 minutes of breathing, if I do a little hand massage, do a little inner body meditation, just go for a quick walk, get some sunshine, get some fresh air, I'm going to feel better. It's going to slow the momentum down of the anxiety. It's going to slow the momentum down of whatever it is that you're going through. And then you're going to start to feel better after that. So just try to bring in these little mindfulness breaks throughout the day. A little meditation here, a little breath work here, a walk here, maybe a movement, some sort of mobility movement to allow some of the tension and the stress to float away. Whatever you got to do, build that into your day, so that you're not just feeling like you're holding your breath all day. And then at the end of the day, you go home and you're like, oh, I don't feel like doing anything. I just want to, watch this or drink that or consume that, Before you give in to that at the end of the day, keep your levels high throughout the day. Keep your levels at a 7 or even an 8. If you're lucky enough to live your day in an 8, that's amazing. That means you're really in the flow. Things are going your way. And just, if you can live at an 8, when you get home at the end of the day, if you end your day at an 8, you're not going to run to the bottle. You're not going to watch Netflix for 3 hours. You're not going to give in to eating more than you should or things that you shouldn't. You're going to say, hey, I've had a really good day. I'm going to go read. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to have a nice hot bath. I'm going to, just do healthy self-soothing exercises at the end of the day, as opposed to unhealthy ones. So that's what I got for you today. I hope you found some benefit in this video. Keep bringing mindfulness into your life as much as you can. Get that control. And when a situation happens in the real world, just say to yourself, what's the best thing I can do in this situation? How am I going to make this situation better? I hope you enjoy today's video. There will be more videos on this topic of bringing mindfulness into your everyday life. So I hope to see you again. Have an amazing day. Thank you.